100 webinars. We just can't stop.
Works Love Made Visible. Organizations across 9 countries and 4 continents. The blended learning,
Team engagement, and
our podcast to be called Hello World. Talk about habits of excellence, hustling in this VUCA world, entrepreneurship, lessons in running and managing a business, leading people, creating that vision, communicating effectively, have that right attitude, right mindset, the right outlook, no matter what happens around us in life. Great work. Because we are now deepening and doing a deep dive of the specific skills and steps in facilitating teleconferences and video meetings. Okay? For those of you who are attending my session for the first time, who would this be? Please type in first time. Please type in first time. Please type in first time. If it's your first time to attend the session with LJMB and Louis Banta, so I'll know if I'll go through my introduction. Yes, there are people who are seeing and meeting me for the first time. So let's jump to our quick reminders for our session. And Elaine has mentioned some of these introduction reminders earlier. The first one is continued patience if you would encounter connection and reception issues. And we ask people to also have a second gadget or a second browser so that you can also access menti.com for our poll questions. We do have a longer session today, 3 hours, so we will provide 2 5-minute breaks at the end of each hour. For those who are joining me for the first time, there are 4 people who said it's their first time with LJMB. Let's go through a quick company introduction. That's the name of our company, 4 letters, which also stands for Learning Just Made Better, founded in 1996 and registered 15 years ago. We're celebrating our anniversary, 15th year tomorrow. My name is Louis Banta. Here are numbers that represent my professional experience, and also proud to have gone around and trained 300 organizations in 9 countries across 4 continents. SSCs or shared service centers are close to our heart because we've maintained several SSCs as our loyal clients in the past 12 years. Some of you who were with me last Monday, you might see your faces here on our class photo. Our story of delivering webinars or our digital transformation started last April as we offered webinars to different companies so leaders can really successfully adapt and thrive in these extended times of crisis. So a lot of additional courses have been requested by different organizations, and to date, we have the most number of virtual workshops conducted by any local provider. The rest of the slides are just all about what we have successfully launched recently, our digital learning offerings, our blended learning online platform. We've also uploaded a lot of our past webinars in our YouTube channel. Please do subscribe so you can have access to these resources. Follow us in our social media pages in Facebook and in LinkedIn. Subscribe to our podcast. Wow, it's just that we've been present all over social media and in this virtual setup given this COVID crisis. For those of you who were with me last Monday, I'm flashing the 10 tips that we shared with you when you're leading work from home employees or virtual teams. For those who missed Monday session or did not attend Monday session, just so you can connect, I'm flashing all the slides, not expecting you to read the fine print here, but we talked about setting the infrastructure and putting that sense of normalcy, setting expectations, providing continued coaching, over communicating, but at the same time, maintaining flexibility as our show of empathy and compassion to our teammates. In today's session, we will drill down on the specifics of how do you plan, execute, and evaluate effective and engaging teleconferences and video meetings. Let's begin with the end in mind. At the end of this 3-hour session, we would expect all participants to be able to complete this post-workshop mission. So I'm delegating a mission to everybody in this workshop. You will complete a personal action plan worksheet. Let's just blow up that font there, the instructions, as a result of your attendance in this workshop. What specific actions do you commit? Some things that you will stop doing, some things that you thought were okay and that you need to change as a result of your lessons from today. What things would you need to start? And there are also some behaviors in previous meetings that were okay and that you need to maintain. What are these actions that you need to continue? And this will be sent to you right after our workshop. And please list down at most 3 items or specific action steps in each of these rows. And find time in the next several days to sit down with your manager and ask for coaching, report progress, and ask for needed support. So within 24 hours after this workshop, please fill this worksheet out. Within 3 working days, sit down with your manager, and so that you can have some follow-up, sense of follow-up in the next 30 days, sit down again with your manager and tell your manager, I'm making progress with my commitments, and sometimes you would also have to ask for support that your manager can provide. So as we go through our content today, you're on the lookout for things that, oops, I've been doing that, I should stop that. Or this is a good takeaway that I need to implement soon so you can fulfill your post-workshop mission. Okay? For those who are listening to my broadcast and I'm coming in loud and clear, please type in loud and clear. Loud and clear. So I know if you're still with me, still connected with me. I will do these frequent checks for connection. One of the things that frequently happens is that people keep on talking, have been talking for 2-3 minutes, but they're already logged out or people are no longer connected. So want to prevent that. If a lot of you are saying I'm coming in loud and clear, assuming this is the same for everyone else. Let's go through our conference call bingo activity. Let's start our 3-hour session with this conference call bingo sheet. Some of you may be familiar with this. You've seen a version of this one way or another. We placed numbers. We have 25 lines here, lines that have been frequently mentioned in virtual meetings. From line number 1 or box number 1, hi, who just joined, okay, to number 2, can you email that to everyone? I will jump to my favorites and my pet peeves as well. Okay? And in the next slide, I have encircled 7 or actually 8 of my favorites or pet peeves when I am participating or running in meetings. And has this ever happened to you? There's a distracting sound, you can't figure it out, or perhaps somebody's vigorously typing, obviously multitasking while in a call, or there's that painful echo, or a child is screaming, or a baby is crying. Sorry, I was on mute because you've been waiting for that person to talk and it's been several seconds. And there are discussions that don't need to happen in meetings. So somebody says, can we take this offline? These are my 8. I will not go through each one. What are your 3 top 3 pet peeves, frustrations, pain points, or common experiences? I said a lot. Either they're your pain points, pet peeves, frustrations, or common experiences. Chat with me, pick 3 numbers, and separate them using commas and type them into the chat room. Begin chatting with me. Please chat with me. Look at this conference call bingo. What are your top 3 pet peeves, pain points, common experiences? And Reynaldo has 9, 8, and 11. Hi, can you hear me? Somehow frustrating, yes, because you have to repeat it at times if people are saying you're choppy. 8 would be child or animal noises. Dogs barking on the background, yes. What else? Roosters crowing, especially in the morning and in the afternoon. And Joy mentioned 5, 13, and 22. What's 5? I had to jump to another call maybe because you're losing time and you have to cut the call. Dexter mentioned 7, 11, 23. Again, that loud, painful echo. Michelle Ann would single out 25. I didn't catch that. Can you repeat that? Which is good behavior, because if you didn't understand something, you shouldn't pretend. But that also means that the other party needs to articulate it more, maybe speak louder so you can be heard by everybody. Okay. How many people do we have now? Just checking our list of participants. We now are up to 32 people, plus Elaine and myself. We are a total of 34, hoping the others would follow us soon. And yes, there's a mixture of what people have experienced in the past 5 months. Just acknowledging the last entry here, 7, 13, and 15. I'm sorry I was on mute. And would you also notice that these were often the same people who would commit the same mistakes? Yes. So you would brand a teammate, of course, in your group, and whenever this person is not saying anything in the next 5 or 10 seconds when he's supposed to be presenting, you would be the one reminding the person, hey, you're speaking on mute. You can also take a look at that icon, the indicator signal in MS Teams. Okay? What a way to start, because these 25 may also refer to our common frustrations with virtual team meetings. Those are 25 different lines or experiences. We are grouping them now into the 9 frustrations that we have experienced. Number 1, internet issues. I really like to acknowledge this earlier. So something beyond our control, and we just have to make do with what we have, and on our own troubleshoot our own connections, because it is really location specific or subscription plan subscription specific. Okay? Some are late for the meeting and that you need to repeat, or maybe they don't see the importance of the why I need to be in the meeting on time. People dropping in and logging back in again. When you have a meeting agenda that you send in advance, people are not prepared, so the meeting gets longer. Why? Because people brainstorm on the spot in meetings. It, yes, just encouraging everybody to be on mute. Eh, somebody is, yes, perfect. And the rest of these lines that I will not go through anymore, but I'll just mention getting distracted and interrupted. A lot coming from the attendees. Number 7 would be no participation. Even if you ask a question, you throw a question, nobody's answering. I'm on a tall order in this longer session because I need to demonstrate as well tips and techniques for us to have a productive and engaging meeting. And don't worry, we have a long checklist for you, a complete structured checklist. And when you look at your handout, it's all there. You can really bring it, pull it up whenever you facilitate virtual meetings. Even if we have 7 items under attendees, the presider and facilitator is still in charge. That's you and me and everybody else in this group. And there are 2 things that we would need to deal with in terms of presider or facilitator frustrations. We're frustrated because the facilitator is not prepared for the role, or prepared, doing his best, but lack the skills to facilitate and lead the group. Because of your attendance in this course, longer course, it's longer because we're going to deep dive into the skills. We would expect that everybody will now be more prepared and more equipped to lead engaging meetings. I believe that leading virtual meetings is a combination of two skills. And these two skills were skills that we have been used to before. The first set of skills would be managing and facilitating face-to-face meetings. Okay? Virtual team meetings are not alien, it's not an alien skill set. I believe that if you know the power of setting agenda items, if you delegate roles to your teammates so that it's not just all you talking in the meeting, and if you're good in, you know, managing interruptions in meetings or making sure that everybody has enough airtime, you will need to carry over those skills from face-to-face meetings to virtual. So it's also adapting what you know before. Some of you may even have attended leading meetings skill workshops before. So we would apply some of those tips and techniques in this new environment. The additional skill would be managing telephone conversations or teleconferences. As I may have mentioned last Monday, I had the privilege of leading a global virtual team more than a decade ago. And that experience has really been reinforced by observations and my experimentation and what I also learned from my other clients in the last 5 months. That the first thing that we need to determine is which tool to use in this virtual communication setup. In this next slide, we're showing these 5 tools. Okay? SMS and text, instant messaging, whatever tool or platform you're using, or emails, plus the synchronous tools of audio call or telecon or telephone call, your usual audio call, and now the video call, a recent addition to our daily life. Please chat with me in the meeting room, in the chat room. Which of these 5 is the one that you most likely use? Either it's your default, that's your preference. Which one do you most likely use? Please type in whether it's SMS or text, or IM, or email, audio call, or video call. Let's wait for some responses in the chat room. We do have a total of 34 participants now from our list of 36. Now the responses are coming in. Michelle Ann said, I am. I love I am too, Michelle. In fact, in my team, our Viber chat groups are burning with activity. That's our major means of communication. Okay? Joy's preference would be to hop into a video call. Dexter, o meron pa ring video call, yes. Anna Marie would mention email. So far, except for SMS or text, I can see the preference is instant messaging. Instant messaging. Before you proceed to the other tips and the framework on leading virtual meetings, the first responsibility of the communicator, and that is you and me as facilitator, is to choose the right tool for communicating. Okay? We may use the ones on the left, asynchronous communication. Why is it asynchronous? The two parties that needed to communicate, they don't need to be in the same platform at the same time. And I will not go through these lines on the slide. You may use them if you don't expect an immediate reply. When the discussion will not involve any emotional component, it's okay to text. When the topic is not complicated, because if it's complicated and the other party would need to ask or probe, this may not do. And I use SMS and IM if I have worked with the person for quite a while, there's already an established relationship, that my words will not be misinterpreted. And you all know that a harmless text or a harmless words in Viber or in WhatsApp can have a different meaning to somebody else. We will just reverse this. If the situation was on the opposite end, when you need to have an immediate reply, when the discussion can be emotional, it's not good to exchange messages because it will be a long email thread. And you've seen that happen sometimes with client escalations. When the topic would need to really have an interactive format because it's instruction giving and the instructions are complicated. And when you need to establish rapport and build trust with the person, please opt for synchronous tools in communication. I wanted to cover this first because as we move to facilitating teleconferences and video meetings, it may not be wise to always call for a video meeting or a telecon when you can use asynchronous means of communication. I'd like us to jump now to our first activity. Guess the word, and Elaine will facilitate once more. Elaine, take it away so we can have the first engagement exercise in our workshop.
For this next activity, it's called Guess the Word. In the next slides, I'll be flashing some photos, and then at the bottom of that, you will see words with blanks in them. Your task is to guess what those photos are referring to. So what you need to do, you need to place your nickname and your answer in the chat using this format. So for example, I've put my own nickname here and then dash and then the answer. If you're ready to proceed with our first item, please type in ready in the chat room. We have our first ready from Dexter. All right, I'm getting a few more. All right. Okay, moving on to our first item. First item is 3, 2, 1, and go. Guess the word. What is this word? It's a long one, so I'll be giving 2 points to the person who gets this item. Over communicate from I is correct. I believe I was one of the people who were able to answer fast in the previous session. So congratulations, I. You have 2 points. Moving on to our next item in 3, 2, 1, and go. Next item is this one's shorter, so this one's 1 point. Waiting for the answers. I believe we have our first one from Mitch. Clear. Clear is the correct answer. So 2 points for I and 1 point for Mitch. Next item in 3, 2, 1, and go. Also starts with the letter C. Check is not the correct answer, but good try. All right, I think I'm seeing the correct answer, but it has to be the correct spelling as well. So this point goes to Chini for sending the correct answer with the correct spelling. This item is correct. So 1 point to Chini, 2 points to I, and 1 point to Mitch. Moving on for our last item for this round of Guess the Word. In 3, 2, 1, and go. Also starts with the letter C. Waiting for an answer. All right, and we got it. Irish. Answering with control. Control is the correct answer. So Irish, Mitch, and Mitch, you each have 1 point. You have 1 point. And Chini, you also have 1 point. So, Sir Louis, please take the floor.
And we will give them
Congratulations
a
to
virtual applause. Those who got a point each will get their virtual applause for getting correct answers. And those words we will use as keywords as we go through the first group of lessons. so we can succeed in facilitating virtual meetings. I'm going to share with you three principles that will govern the steps that we will share with you in the form of a structured checklist. These three principles start with principle number one, the principle of over-communicating before the call or the video meeting to communicate less during the call. Okay? What is the rationale for this principle? We may have been tolerant of long meetings in the past, pre-COVID. You may have been in a 1.5 hour, 2 hour meeting, 2.5 hour meeting, depending on the agenda before. But we can't ask people to be seated for long meetings in this virtual setup. Okay? Not unless it's a workshop like this where we can introduce breaks. We'll have our first break at 4 o'clock and then the next break at 5 o'clock. We need to have, as much as possible, short meetings, 15-minute team huddles, 30-minute team meetings, at most 1 hour. And for us to be able to get the maximum productivity, ideas, and engagement from people in a short span of time, we would need to do some work before and after that video meeting. Over communicate before, so sending prior information or information prior to the meeting so that participants are prepared when they go into the meeting can help us really keep meetings shorter yet more productive and more engaging. I also encourage our participants to give me feedback in what I'm saying here, the difference between this and in-person meetings or workshops. I can see you nod, I can see your body language. Please do give me feedback here. If you agree with what I'm saying here, you can also type in agree. If you also have the capability to put emojis here or some characters to indicating agreement or yes, your reaction are all welcome here in the chat room. Over communicate before to communicate less during the call. So we can also keep meetings short, productive, and engaging. We will practice our 4 C's of communication. And we brand this LJMB's 4 C's. It's actually 8 C's, that's the complete set. But for our purposes in virtual meetings, we would like to plug in and promote 4 C's. What are these 4 C's? You are now seeing the 4 C's in the next slide. And if we implement these 4 C's, it can help us run short, productive, engaging meetings. Correct information, complete information, given as clear and as concise as possible. And it supports principle number 1. For this to happen, people will really need to prepare before the meeting so that they can give the right data, complete explanation of important points that are being discussed, so there's no back and forth, and communicated in ways that are straightforward, brief, and on point. And I have specific tips here. The first tip is to be able to give and ask categorical answers. Yes or no, agree or disagree. And I usually, when I log into meetings and I share my screen, I use yes or no or agree or disagree items when I ask people, if you can see my screen, please say yes. So that's a simple technique. Instead of asking, can you see my screen? Asking questions would make people just depend on others to give an answer. So everybody's sensing, right? Who would say yes? But an instruction making people answer questions is more likely to produce a response. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please say yes. Okay? Or if I'm putting a proposal on the table, what I can do is to ask, if you agree, chat with me, agree, or you can unmute and say agree or disagree. Very similar to what I'm doing in the chat. Remember earlier when I opened this session, I asked, who's with me in the previous session? Please type in me. Okay? Of course, the bigger the class, if it's a training, the bigger the group, if it's a meeting, the more you can also depend on the chat room and give people options to participate, whether they want to unmute or they want to use the meeting chat. Okay? Let's go to letter B. So that the meetings are also short and productive, you have to go into the meeting ready to provide brief and on-point explanation. And also soliciting brief and on-point explanation from the rest of the meeting participants. Okay? So I would say, how many would agree? Please say yes if you agree. And for those who said yes, I'd say, could you please explain that? You agreed this yes. You said agree because trying to cue participants so that they will already just fill in the blanks and provide a sense of structure in what they're saying and end up giving on-point explanation. You know, Filipinos, Asians in general, if we're given an open-ended question, we're more apt to really give a very verbose answer. A lot of times we start with the explanation first before we give our yes or no. Okay? So as a facilitator, I would like all of us to really get into that habit of giving and asking categorical answers, and also asking people to provide on-point explanation. Continuing these principles in the next slide, letter C pertains to, as I also previewed this already on the previous slide, give more suggestions and instructions than questions. Okay? My example earlier, you will see here, can you see my slides? I don't recommend that because people are just apt to wait for somebody to say yes. But if you give instructions, please say yes. If you can see the slides, automatically I get yes responses. Stop saying, can you hear me, when you want to do an audio test. Give an instruction, give a suggestion. For those who can hear me, please say yes. Whenever you hear you see this icon of the smiling and sad face, it means that I'd like to do an on-the-spot role play with some of our participants. And this role play is important to me because as we learn skills in this session, we'd also like to hear you deliver these lines. Okay? So let me call on some people randomly. I'll look at my list. And if I call on your nickname, just please mention these two lines in green with feelings as if you're already facilitating a meeting. I'd say both lines, up to you. Which one do you want to deliver first? We just want to really hear it and make it part of our habit. Let me go to the chat room. A lot of people participated here, so I'm sure I'm calling people who are here in the room. I will start with Reynaldo Isip. Okay, Reynaldo, you're with us. Please say hi.
Hi.
Hello, Reynaldo. For example, you are already facilitating the meeting. You want to do an audio test. What will you say? Action.
For those who can hear me, please say yes.
Okay, and you're more apt to really get responses there. And you want to check if people can see the slides that you're sharing. Go ahead, please.
Please say yes if you can see the slides.
Thank you. Let's now call on the next person, Rachel Balieras. Rachel, please say hi.
Hi.
Hello, Rachel. You're screen sharing your slides. You want to do a test. Go ahead, please.
So please say yes if you can see the slides.
And all of a sudden, people are not responding to your question. You want to test whether they can hear your voice. Go ahead.
For those who can hear me, please say yes.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Once again, based on my experience, people are less likely to reply to questions because they depend on others in the room. And that's typical Filipino, right? We don't want to be the one volunteering the answer. But ask for an instruction, suggest what people will do is most likely to spring them to action. For those who can hear me, please say yes. Please say yes if you can see my slides. Also, I might role model a lot of techniques that I don't have in the slides. If you notice, Let me call another one. Christine Tuplano, are you with us? Say hi.
Hi, good
Christine,
afternoon.
what did you observe as my habit whenever I would call on people randomly? What do I make them say?
Hello?
Christine, yes? Should I repeat? Christine?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll repeat.
Hello?
I've called Christine. Please say yes if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Louis.
Okay, perfect. Christine, what have you so far observed in how I do it? When I call on someone, specifically in our class, what do I make them say first?
Based on my observation, you call them by their name and then you always ask them if they can hear you, right?
Okay, I'm waiting for a specific answer, which is what I did with Reynaldo. And was it Reynaldo? Yes, Reynaldo and Rachel, I believe, and with you just when I called you. If you remember it right, I said, please say, Christine, please
Please
say
say hi. Yes,
hi.
please
Please,
say hi.
right? A very small technique there when you want to structure what people will say in meetings. Eh? So when you call somebody, what they will say is not, can you hear me? Because often when you call people for the first time, has this happened to you? You called people for the first time, most likely what you will hear is, can you hear me? You can do the same tech test, you can achieve the same effect by making somebody just say hi, Christine. And if Christine says hi, yes, people can definitely achieve the same purpose. Okay? We will now move on to another example or another aspect in number 2. It is now about preparing your talking points so you can avoid fillers. That's letter D under bullet number 2. Okay? Let's show bullet number 2D, Elaine. Preparing and writing talking points so you can avoid fillers. Okay? Just waiting for Elaine to transition our slides here. Elaine, let's show 2D. And while I wait for Elaine to show the right slide, just checking if I'm the only one stuck at 2C. Are you also seeing 2C? Please say yes.
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 You're seeing 2C. Okay, the slides are lagging. Communicating with Elaine here. Yes. Okay. Elaine, if you can, let me just viber with Elaine if we have problems here. Show 2D. You may not, you can see 2D now, Joy. Thank you. You can see 2D. You can see 2D. Perfect. I don't see now. I can see 2D. Prepare and write talking points so you can avoid fillers. Let me say something about fillers. We dislike speakers in pre-COVID times who have a lot of fillers. In public speaking workshops, in presentation skills workshops, this is a topic in itself, how to avoid fillers. In this virtual setup, more so in a teleconference, when you have audio with no video, fillers, the us and the ums and the repeated words and the basically and the actually and the all of these really become unpleasant to the ears, are very distracting and can even prolong meetings. And if you can just do a quick self-assessment here, what's your favorite filler? Please chat with me. What's your favorite filler? Is it an or an or is it actually or basically? Or are you Do you use the same filler as Manny Pacquiao, which is you know? Thanks, Reynaldo, for mentioning so. Okay. And the actually is the sibling of basically. The us and the and the I mean can also be overused. Okay. We are still in principles to observe in leading virtual meetings. I would suggest this has worked for me and has worked for other leaders that I've coached. Do not go into a meeting without writing at least bullets of your talking points. Because number one, you might forget them and you know you forgot something, so you're groping for words, you're trying to remember it, and you unnecessarily delay the meeting and disengage the participants. So write them down. We have a chance 5 to 10 minutes before the meeting to compose your message. So when you deliver it, quick glances to your notes will enable you to seamlessly deliver your message. Let's now proceed to the last principle, and then we'll have our first Mentimeter or Menti.com poll question. This is about building and sustaining call control. Okay? And as we prepare to take a look at the three stages in virtual meetings, it's all about the facilitator being in control. You will hear me mention call control later or meeting control. You only have a limited time. You may have a list of agenda items, and you may not know sometimes how many will attend the meetings, but it is still incumbent upon us to maintain control of the conversation. Okay? I just want to go back to that preparing or write talking points so you can avoid fillers. Elaine, if you can just go back one slide. Let me give you one tip. I learned this in Toastmasters. For those of you who are familiar with Toastmasters, one practical technique in removing fillers, aside from preparing your talking points. Of course, if you know what to say, you will not resort to fillers. If you're saying something that you practice several times, you also will not resort to fillers. So those are already two P's. Prepare talking points and practice your delivery. The third one is simply pausing. And this requires a higher level of awareness. When you're thinking, you don't know what to say, sometimes you're put on the spot and you are tempted to say something or to give an answer. Promise, the first thing that will come out of your mouth is a sound of a filler. So for those of you who really want to get rid of their fillers, you may need to pause. If you don't know the answer, you're not ready, pause. And it's okay to pause for 1 or 2 to 3 seconds. People know that you're thinking anyway. Compose quickly, think on your feet, quick thinking, and then release or say your answer. We have so much to say about how to articulate these principles, but for the meantime, showing you the 3 principles from over communicating, the 4 C's of LJMB, and then build and sustain call control in one slide. My question is, which of these 3 principles do you already excel at? Let's do a self-assessment. Which of these do you already excel at? And you may now proceed to the first question in menti.com. Code is 968144. Which of these principles do you already excel at? Do you over-communicate before, making sure that agenda is clear, information has been prepared, presentations are really solid, or communicating correctly with complete information, concisely and clearly during meetings? Or are you good at sustaining control? Are you good at really time boxing meeting topics? The code is 968144. And now the bar charts are moving. With 6 people who have voted, the top response is practicing LJMB's 4 C's. The rankings have not changed with more people voting. I'd like to see more. Okay, more people have already been hooked with the practice of correct, complete, concise, and clear communication. I can see that possibly I'm guessing that the major area for improvement here, and we're about to ask you in the next mentee.com survey, your AFI, but this is okay. I can already see that the AFI here, it must really be in the area of building and sustaining call control. Okay? With 18 people who have cast their votes, majority excelling in principle number 2, and it's safe to assume that our area for improvement will be in building and sustaining call control. With 9 minutes to go before we take our first break, we'd like to introduce, as part of call control, the structured steps and techniques in 3 stages of virtual meetings. The success of any virtual meeting, such as what we're having, is dependent on a pre-call, a call proper, and a post-call. And you can also use this analogy with so many things that you do in life. As leaders, a lot of the things that we do can be divided into what we do before, what we do during that activity, and what we do after. You need to have control in pre-call, call proper, and post-call. We will now zero in each of these steps. Expect that the longest discussion will really be in call proper, and we'll continue the practice of randomly calling anybody in the class for a quick on-the-spot role play as we go along these steps. We'll zero in on pre-call. 8 minutes to go before our first break. Let's talk about pre-call, where the emphasis is really preparing, and preparation is 50% of the success of the virtual call. As I said earlier, what you learned before, best practices or techniques in running face-to-face meetings, a lot of those still make a lot of sense in these virtual meetings. We're showing you step number 1 in pre-call, and this would be to create meeting rules and share with attendees in advance. Create meeting rules and share attendees with advance. And when we talk about meeting rules, it's a combination of these items in our list. Okay? And let me go through these. I may not go through all the lines, but just focusing or emphasizing on the keywords. Please engage your teammates by assigning roles. If you ask me how can we engage people in this virtual meeting, they will not be engaged if they're not participating and they don't have anything to do. If you have 10 team members and 5 of them are assigned roles, minutes taker, timer, what else? Perhaps a quote for the day, yes? Or a lesson from yesterday, work-related lesson. Or if you can have somebody who can also give feedback on how the meeting can be improved. Sky's the limit in terms of creativity as to the role that you would need to assign. Because of my Toastmasters training, and as part of our continuing English proficiency drive in my team, we also assign sometimes a filler counter. We're a training company and we need to constantly sharpen our speaking skills. So it makes sense that one of the roles that I assign in my team in meetings is a filler counter. So take a look at what behaviors do you really want to inject in meetings and base the roles that you're going to assign. If you even have 10 people in the room, in the virtual room, and each one would have a role, can you imagine the level of engagement that you can create? For meetings with more serious agenda items, please make sure that you've sent assignments in advance. Are there staff articles that need to be read? Are there forms that need to be completed? On a personal note, as a facilitator, have everything that you need within reach and encourage your teammates to also have the following within reach: pen, paper, gadgets, chargers. Because this has happened. Has this also happened to you? Your laptop is at 5%, 3%, and you can't find the charger. Just checking if this has happened to any one of our participants. Please type in yes. It may not happen all the time. I'm sure that one or two of you may have experienced this, or you may have seen this happen with one of the attendees in your meetings. Okay? Be in the meeting minutes before. We'll touch on that later. Just before we go to the meeting proper, reminding everybody to be on mute all the time, and also reminding people to unmute before speaking. You might also catch me, I would say, when I call on somebody. For example, the last person I called was Christine. Christine, what's your take on this? Please unmute before speaking. Imagine that help. Just a 2-second reminder, please unmute before speaking. Make it part of our daily habit during meetings, so we prevent people from making the mistake, and of course, we save some time and make meetings shorter. Okay. Meeting rules. You have a long list here. That's the first tip, so that we can really ensure preparation as 50% of the success. After rules, we'll go to step number 2, would be our agenda items. Let's show agenda, meeting agenda. Now goes by different elements. What is the objective of the meeting? I like it that Oprah once said, Oprah, the queen of talk, she would always start a meeting with this question: what do we want to accomplish in this meeting? And even if she knows the answer, that's a rhetorical question, so that everybody really focuses on what is that end goal for the meeting. And based on the objective, you already provide a list of topics. And the agenda is also best if it's time boxed. What do I mean by time boxed? If you have 4 topics in your meeting, 4 topics, you previously list them on the whiteboard or glass board. You may flash a slide with each of these agenda items. Make sure that they're time boxed. Okay. Identify meeting attendees. Because sometimes we attend meetings and we don't even participate. Asking people in this virtual class, have you ever been in meetings and you're not even called? You're not even asked to air your piece or say something. Please type in yes. If you've been a participant in a meeting and have not had the chance to participate actively, type in yes if that has happened. I'm getting one. Okay. Okay. I would understand it if it's a town hall meeting where participants are really not all participants are expected to have airtime. You even you even doubt your purpose in the meeting. You even ask, why have I been invited in this meeting in the first place? Yes, if you had that question once before, you had that thought, why have I even been invited in this meeting in the first place? Type in me. Please type in ME. Why am I part of this meeting? I could have done something more productive. I could have been in another meeting where I'm needed more. So I'm getting Miss here. So I'm sure that some of you may take this list for granted because, oh, okay, I know that already. But in actual practice, the reason why you're saying yes and me to me in the chat room is that we just invite people sometimes, or we fail to invite people, the right participant. So when we are in the meeting, let me say this in Tagalog, sana pala in-invite natin dapat pala nandito si Blank sa meeting na to. Okay? And what we do is we really put that person in that meeting and it wastes some time. We're aiming for more flawless meetings, and we would like to remind people you need to go back to this list. Let me continue with that last line. It's 4 o'clock. Just want to call for a break, a timely break. I'll give you 5 minutes. If you don't need to go, please stay where you are and just multitask if you want. I'll start after 5. But if you need to go, just grab what you need and quickly go back to your seat. Our 5-minute break, first break, starts now. See you in 5 minutes. This is the Hello World podcast, where we talk about habits of success, habits of excellence, entrepreneurship, leadership, learning and development, and outlook that will help us succeed through life. This is Louis Banta, CEO and Chief Trainer of Learning Just Made Better, or LJMB. Resuming in a few seconds. First 5 minute break is up. And if you're back here with me, please chat in and type in back. If you are back, please chat with me. Type in back. Let me leave that. I am back. If you're back here with us, 30 plus people expected in today's session. Thank you. We now have more than 10 people saying they're back and ready. And while we're waiting for some more people to do an attendance check that they're back, I'm showing the first batch of steps and tips, create meeting rules. They come with some sub steps here. If you can just take a look at what Elaine is flashing here, and I will call somebody randomly. Which of these is your biggest aha? Which of this is your biggest realization? Which of these sub tips or steps in meeting rules? Let me now call on somebody who is back. I will call somebody who is back. Javin is with us. Javin, please say hi.
Hi, Louie. Good afternoon.
Javin, which
Good
of
afternoon to
these
all.
good afternoon, which of these sub bullets or sub tips is your biggest aha moment?
To be honest, my first, that one would be the avoid multitasking during the call.
Okay.
Because just a little explanation, no? Because sometimes we're trying to beat some deadlines, no, and then sometimes we wanted to work on several topics at the same time, but then you lose also focus on what has been being discussed. So yeah, and here it's just also a matter of disciplining as well yourself that you should really focus on what you have and do things one step at a time, I would say.
Thanks, Javin. And when people multitask, everybody says yes at the end of the meeting, correct? And then the following meeting, people didn't prepare, people didn't bring what
Yeah.
they needed to, and it delays the meeting. You have to go back to square one again. Remember, our point is to come up with shorter but productive and engaging meetings. Javin, do you know who else is with us here in the room? Please call that person by first name. Come on, nominate the next person.
Sure. Okay, then I nominate Miss Klang.
Lang, are you here?
Klang. It's Klang.
Lang,
Maria Carla.
Lang. Maria Carla or Lang. Say hi, Carla.
I'm sorry. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, Lang. Aside from avoid multitasking, any aha for you on this slide? Create meeting rules. Which sub-tip or sub-step?
Okay, for me, it would be the be in the meeting 1 to 5 minutes before because you'll never
Mm,
know if your connection is stable or not.
correct. And I just said there 1, 2 to 5 minutes before. If you're super confident that you just need to click the link and you automatically get connected, Why not connect 60 seconds before? You have fast internet. But Murphy's Law operates. Yes, Murphy's Law. What is Murphy's Law again? Anybody who knows Murphy's Law? Waiting a volunteer to just unmute. What is Murphy's Law? You must have heard of this before. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Okay? And of course, for more important, more critical meetings and workshops, you really have to repeatedly do tech tests 30 minutes before is the golden rule. Let's go to the second batch of tips. I will complete that last line, which is all about roles. I already previewed this, mentioned this earlier. I love assigning people roles. Number one, that's in the spirit of empowering others. Number two, I don't want to overburden myself. You can't manage and can't lead if you are too tied with the small stuff. So please assign roles, specific roles to people. Okay? I may have mentioned some of the roles that I assign in meetings. Can you just please chat with me? What specific roles have you tried assigning to others? Let's see what creative roles have you come up with. Waiting for the chat responses. What roles have you assigned to people, or what roles can you assign? Yes, minute taker. And that's the most popular role that we can assign. You just have to rotate it. Yes, as I'm mentioning here on this slide. Timekeeper. Yes, there's a timekeeper to make sure that you do not go overboard. And that timekeeper needs to know what is your budget per agenda item. Okay? We do have a game master. Dexter, if you can just unmute and just introduce to us very quickly how you do the game master. What's the role of the game master?
Hi,
Dexter.
Louie. Hi.
Hello.
So the role of the game master is the one who is preparing what will be the game for the day.
You have a time slot for game for the day.
Yes, normally before or in the previous months, so we have a game so that the meeting will be more interactive.
Okay. So what has been so far mentioned are the traditional roles that we assign. Minute taker, timekeeper, you have a game master. Yes. Any other creative roles that you've tried before? Let's wait for some chat responses. Creative roles that you tried before. And you know what's also the value of assigning roles and assigning the role to the right person. You may also look at which one or who among your teammates is not so engaged in attending meetings. One way to engage people who might be disengaged is to assign specific roles. And before we leave this slide, please rotate the roles as you go from one meeting to another and have something predictable that your team can follow. So we're not always asking whose turn is it. Sometimes it happens and people just point to each other and nobody wants to take on the role. Please make sure that people know whether it's alphabetical order, so they know when it's their turn, or is it tenure in the team, or is it some other order that your team may agree on. 3, 4, 5, and 6 in pre-call. My dear leaders, we are still in pre-call. The importance of pre-call. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are on one slide. And some of you are already used to some of these items. Step 3 is sharing the meeting agenda, roles, rules, everything that you have prepared needs to be shared to everybody, including meeting access codes and links with passwords and meeting IDs. Please do not take this for granted because sometimes there are participants who don't know where to look for it, how to search for it. And now we've added agenda, roles that they will play because you would need to confirm as well whether they got it. And they will not just go into the meeting and ask, oh, ako ba yun? I'm not prepared. Meeting reminders, I don't need to belabor the point. Number 5, you assign people to prepare assignments. Please do check so that they're also not put on the spot during meetings. And for you as meeting facilitator, what's the meeting flow? What probing questions will you ask so you are not the only one dominating the meeting? Talking points, especially inspiring quotations that you want to deliver or key messages that you don't want to miss. Please write it down. And contingency plans. For example, if people have been tasked to present, just what if people miss the meetings? What will you do as a facilitator? Okay? Let's go to the collection of all of these tips and chat with me. All the sub-tips in pre-call now being showed on one slide. Chat with Louis. Type in the chat room, which of these pre-call tips do you agree with? Your biggest takeaway. Which of these pre-call tips do you agree with and your biggest takeaway? Of course, we've heard earlier, avoid multitasking. We've heard earlier, be in the meeting room before. What is your biggest takeaway in this pre-call? I know that some you are already doing, but some might be new to you, or you got reminded that you really need to do this. Let's wait for some responses in the chat room. Gather all data and presentations needed for the meeting. And and while we're waiting for some, you know what, when you ask people to present and you did not see the presentation before, most likely you will also have your own comments and questions and even criticisms of that presentation. And has that ever happened to you? Your boss, your manager asked you to present and you did not show your presentation to your boss or to your manager, and your manager ends up being the number one person who would shoot down the presentation? Okay. Being very on point, avoid multitasking, decide on the length of the meeting, and please do have a hard stop because people are arranging their schedules based on meeting durations. Okay? Anybody who's not typed in the response, let me call on some people in the room. Okay, Princess Anne identified assigning roles to specific attendees. Princess, I'd like to hear your voice, please. Please say hi to everyone.
Hi everyone.
Okay, give us a backgrounder. You have not done this before, and what roles do you intend to give to your teammates moving forward?
We are actually doing that, but actually we're not rotating the role. It's always the same person. For example, the business insight provider.
Mhm.
The person assigned there is always the same person. So I think we should rotate the responsibility within
Mhm.
our team.
If the purpose is engagement, thank you so much, Princess. If the purpose is engagement, people might be engaged when they're doing the task for the first time, second time, third time, but if they're doing it for the nth time, there's no variety anymore. So you may really want to rotate. Also, as I'm thinking of what I've done in the past, if there are a lot of presenters and the others don't have roles, what you can also do is to assign them a role that starts with letter R. And chat with me, what is your biggest guess? What is this role that starts with letter R? If people are assigned to present and the others are supposed to be audiences, a simple role that starts with the letter R, please type in the chat room. What could this be? If you have a presenter, you need to have R's. Presenters and R's. Please, what would this be? Waiting for answers in the chat room so that there's a reader. Okay, there's a presenter and there's a reader. Okay, nice try, Michelle. I'm waiting for some one more, so that the room really has engagement. There's a conversation and not just one person giving input. Responder, okay, close, Mark. I can see the smile there. Okay, close, respond there. Or somebody who will just give an R, a reaction. What do you call somebody who gives a reaction? Have a specific reactor. Yes. Simple lang, di ba? Not mind-blowing. If you want engaging meetings, people need to have a role. When they don't have roles, okay, I will multitask. That's the tendency. Yes? But if okay, I'm supposed to react to a presentation, let me prepare because I will give a 60-second reaction. Please do take this seriously. What are the others? Sharing meeting agenda, roles, and rules. Pre-meeting, 50% of your success in the virtual meeting. If we do not do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as a facilitator, you'll be so stressed and pressured because, wow, you're doing everything during the meeting, troubleshooting as you're going along. Checking if you have questions for me on pre-meeting. Questions for me on pre-meeting. Questions on pre-meeting. Let me now check with some of you. Either questions or reactions. Let me go to our participant list. Participant list. Do we have Bernadette Del Villar in the room? Say hi, Bernadette, if you're here.
Hi, Louis.
Hello, Bernadette. Would you have a question for me or a reaction to the pre-call steps and tips?
I don't have any questions, but a comment is similar to all of the other participants in here.
Okay.
Similar points, be in the meeting 1 to 2 or 5 minutes before, because it is already a practice wherein we have calls, one call after another. So I like the point that you mentioned that anything that could go wrong would go wrong. Yeah. So that's all.
Especially if you're facilitating, you may also need to tell your presider in the previous meeting or in the first meeting, I have to log out 5 minutes before I'm facilitating the next one, either through a private message, so you can really ensure a successful meeting. Let's call one last person and then we move to the call proper. Let's call Iris Faye is in the house. Iris Faye, are you with us? Please say hi. Iris Faye, waiting for Iris Faye. While waiting for Iris Faye, who may have some connection issues, let me call Maria Elena. Maria Elena, hello.
Hi, Louis.
Hello, how should I call you?
You can call me Mai.
Mai. Mai, any question for me or any reaction on our pre-call steps and tips?
No question, but also I appreciate the fact that you also mentioned. I'm not sure I'm seeing here in these notes here, but you mentioned earlier regarding putting a hard stop, especially when discussions could really be deep and engaging already, and you have just allotted like a 1 hour. So, in order to respect as well succeeding meetings for the other participants who might have commitments, then yeah, putting a hard stop in the discussions, and maybe to add to that, maybe scheduling another round as aligned with the rest of the group.
I'd like to process this a bit with you, Mai. You mentioned a very important point. And it's possible that the people are so engaged and they got the momentum later during the meeting. Yes? Is it possible that people are willing to extend if the discussion is really very interesting?
Yes, there's a possibility, especially if there is no succeeding commitments or meetings for some in the group. So it can be that one or two may have already commitments that they can already, move out from the meeting. While for the remainder, who might be also majority who can still contribute to the discussion, can agree to still proceed.
Okay, it's a facilitator again, taking control. Remember the principle of control. You are anticipating that I might need 15 minutes or 20 minutes more. Open it to the meeting attendees, put it on the table, ask permission, manage expectations. Just like lights, camera, action. Team, I believe we would need 10 more minutes to tie up loose ends. And I can see that you're really engaged here. How many are willing to extend? And of course, if there are people, you can just continue with the meeting. And also one thing why that happens has something to do with the pre-call. If people are not ready with their ideas or assignments, that can also possibly happen, that because they spend thinking time in the meeting, not thinking before the meeting, that happens when you have to put a hard stop and there could be unfinished business. So that's the only corrective action that you can do, schedule another meeting.
Yes.
Thank you
And
so much.
yeah,
Yes, go ahead.
just an addition, it might also be like for the facilitator who or the meeting the one who set the meeting, if he might have decided in hindsight the length of the meeting, so it's kind of in anticipation, he or she only allotted like 30 minutes for the call when you're in the meeting. Sometimes the progress and the discussions could be really also interesting, that it might be needing more time or an extension
I
also
like what you're
possible.
saying, Mai. You wanted to touch on decide on the length of the meeting, which is number 2. And for some leaders in the room, you may want to allot an allowance or a buffer. Yes, you instead of calling for 30 minutes, call for an hour. So if you have time savings because you're done with 45 minutes and 15 minutes, you can give back that time savings to participants. So what Mai is saying, what I'm picking up is do not allot a tight meeting duration.
Agree. Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Mai. We are now proceeding to call proper. And the principle in call proper would now be balanced participation and control. I would say balancing that people have airtime participating and the facilitator does not lose control of the meeting. Elaine, let's go to our next batch of Guess the Words.
This will be phase 2 of our guess the word activity. So it will be the same mechanics as earlier. In the next slide, we'll be flashing photos and your task is to fill in the blanks down below. But please make sure to use the nickname to use the format that I've indicated here, which is your nickname dash answer. And once again, if you're ready, please type in ready in the chat room.
How many are ready? Are you ready?
We have 2 people who are ready and more are coming in. All right, showing you our first item in 3, 2, 1, and go. First item, there are 4 photos, starts with the letter T. What is this word? We have our first answer from Chini, technology. So that's 1 point for you. Our scores are resetting from phase 1 earlier. So congratulations, Chini, for getting our first point in this phase. Next item, we have it in 3, 2, 1, and go. Here's our next item. Starts with the letter G. There are 4 photos. And once again, we have another person who was able to get the point in the earlier phase. Congratulations to Mitch for answering greeting. That is the correct answer. So for this phase, we have 1 point for Mitch and 1 point for Chinny. Moving on to our next item in 3, 2, 1, and go. Next item starts with the letter R. All right, and we have our first one from Bernadette. The answer is rules. So congratulations, Det. You have joined our list of people who has 1 point for this round. So 1 point Chini, 1 point Mitch, and 1 point for Det. Moving on to our next item in 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, go. Here's our next item. And once again, we have that as the first one who was able to answer. And the answer for this one is agenda. So congratulations, that you now have 2 points, while Mitch and Chini are still at 1 point. Moving on to our next item in 3, 2, 1, and go. This is our last item for this round. Waiting for some answers in the chat. Okay, looking for the first one. And once again, it's Bernadette Del Villar who was able to guess this item first correctly. Oh, hold on. Let me look for another answer because apparently the answer for this item is ideas with an S. So the point for this one goes to the first one who was able to put in idea. So this is Mitch. So right now the count for phase 2 of guess the word, 2 points for Mitch and 2 points for Chini. So a round of applause to these two people. Congratulations for winning this round of Guess the Word. Back to you, Sir Louis.
Okay, we will now go to call proper and resuming my video. As you can see, I also turn off my video if it is not me on the spotlight or the limelight, so you may also pick that up. If you have presenters who are responsible for certain roles, please make sure that you allow them to share their video and also take your video away so people are just focused on one person, especially if you have a bigger group. Okay? Minutes before the meeting, what the facilitator needs to do will be to go through this preparation. I'd also like to acknowledge that we are giving you a long checklist. That's the intention, to really structure everything. Some of you might say, I'm already doing this, these are new things, but with the use of a checklist that will be part of your handout, no more comparisons on who does better facilitation of meetings, because everybody who's in this class should be able to go through these items in the checklist. Okay? So anybody who attends any meeting facilitated by anyone in this class, they will now feel, everybody seems to facilitate meetings in the same engaging manner. Preparation goes by preparing yourself, preparing your technology in your environment. You may have come from a tense or emotional meeting, and without prepping yourself, you may transfer those negative emotions, that level of stress and tension to your next meeting. Has that ever happened to you? Has that ever happened to you? A quick yes. A quick yes in the meeting chat room. You are so mad at somebody in the previous meeting. It was a tense meeting. There was a lot of blame storming instead of brainstorming. There was blame storming in that meeting, and you're going to a real brainstorming, you can carry on or carry over the feelings. So, mindset, emotions, take care of the voice as well because it can communicate the emotions, posture, facial expressions, and attire. So in that 1 minute break that you have, if you can wash your face, yes, that's the benefit of really working from home. Okay? And just take a breathe, take several deep breathing. You can venture into deep breathing exercises to really relax yourself so you're ready for the next meeting. When I say tech, we know this already. You have your gadgets, you have your chargers, but don't take for granted audio and video. Audio may work, but not video. Video may work, but not audio. The environment as well, being very particular with what people see on video. Okay? Let me talk about video angle. The best video angle is when people see your face just directly at camera level. Okay? This is not good video angle. The good thing is that I can lift my webcam, my Logitech Brio webcam. This is poor angle. As you can see, the camera is below my face. And we also don't want to do this. Yes, I'm exaggerating, I know. But if you're using a laptop and if you don't make adjustments, what people will most likely see is that your face, your cheek, your chin. It may not be as flattering for some, but that's not the primary reason. It's really because for better eye contact, yes, the camera has to be at eye level. Let's also talk about the background. If you notice, I have chosen my background for most of my virtual meetings. I would choose that my background is not very exciting, because if I have here a painting or very bright colors here in my background, it may also add visual strain to your eyes. If I am broadcasting in my library where I have hundreds of books, each book or each item there is a stimulus that can be a distraction. And I don't want distractions. Sometimes you will look at some items, some furniture, or some fixtures that are the background of your fellow employees. Well, I'm able to control my background here. It's good, but in your case or in the case of your teammates, you may have less control. So just work with what you have. But if as much as you can, if you can control your background, less or no distractions. Lighting is an issue. As meeting facilitator, you need to really be visible. So investing in some equipment such as this, just showing you my ring lights. This is my big ring light. I do have a small ring light here. They're both turned on as we speak. Okay? And you also have to encourage members of your team to also make sure that they have enough lighting. You don't have to buy a ring light. Available natural ring light. Just position yourself by the window or use your lights or lamps at home. The emphasis is people need to be visible. Okay? And cameras also don't need to be focused. Yes, some people would want to really focus their cameras, no? Because they don't want to show the entire face. Yes, some would want to focus it on their forehead. Call the attention of people and coach your people as well on this. I've given a lot of misuses of the camera. Yes, can you relate? Are you able to relate to these misuses of the camera? Please type in. Please type in me so I can differentiate it with the previous answers. Type in me if you've encountered some meeting attendees who would misuse the camera in ways I've just described it. Please type in me. Masyadong mataas, masyadong mababa yung camera. Have you also chanced upon people whose source of light is coming from behind them, right? You know what? If I open these blinds and I have a glass door here, it will be very bright and you can see my silhouette. Okay? All distracting. And not all are knowledgeable on these things, especially the impact of these on meeting attendees. Some may even question, so what? What's the problem with that? So please coach our teammates on how to really conduct themselves professionally on camp. As I've said, a lot of companies are really seeing that this work from home setup will be extended. It may be for the entire 2020. It may even extend to 2021. Yes, as part of the new normal. So we really better adapt to the new professional etiquette given this technology. Let's proceed to the next step and tips. And we will now have an on-the-spot role play after I go through this very quickly. You can see the icon on the upper right-hand corner. Log in 5 minutes before the call. I said earlier 1, 2, and 5. Again, depending on your confidence level. Make your presence felt with a greeting. Okay? How many of you will really, upon log in, will really energetically greet your team without fail? Without fail. Please type in me. If upon log in, you will energetically greet your people. The reason why I'm asking, and I can see Mark and Reynaldo and Iris, is that not everybody will do this. You want to set the tone for an engaging meeting? You remember? You fixed your attitude, you fixed yourself, emotions. You may have you may be coming from a tense meeting, an emotional one. Make sure that you set the tone, you start by greeting as soon as you enter. Then check who's in the room. This is your rapport building. You can do this in several seconds, or list name of attendees. You can even check who's in the room by checking the meeting participants, and do small talk with the early birds. This is difficult to do if you're multitasking or still rushing with your presentation that you're about to show. So prep is really key. I'm encouraging you to do small talk because it's the job of the meeting host. You are a meeting host just like a party host. And at the same time, best practice, display a welcome screen with meeting agenda, okay? And the right meeting title and objectives. Okay? This is a rare occurrence, but it has happened to me that one person is in the wrong meeting and has been in the wrong meeting for 10 to 15 minutes. And all of a sudden says, sorry, I'm in the wrong meeting. I have to log out. Okay? He got confused because there were participants in the supposed meeting who were also in that meeting. Okay? Can you please just chat with me? Has that happened to you? Just type in relate. Could be really rare, but if it has happened to you, people will log in the wrong meeting. So that's the practical side of displaying that welcome screen. What is the meeting about? What are the objectives and the agenda of the meeting? Now, you have 7 out of 10 attendees. Where are the others? Your meeting facilitator. Don't just say, let's wait for the others. If you have contact details, or you can also assign a role where somebody will have to check on others so we can get 100% attendance as we start. And anytime people would join, I was in my 1:30 webinar earlier, and the host would just do that. The host in my other client company, for every person who joins, he will mention, hi Mila, hi Lester, hi Randy. Those were the names that I heard earlier. He would welcome anybody who joins. Okay? The meeting has not yet started, yes, but you're setting the tone, you're building rapport. Let's put some people in an on-the-spot role play. And when I call on your name, please do start with item number 3, item number 4, and 5, yes, 7, and 8. Of course, you cannot role play displaying a welcome screen, yes? So imagine when I call on you that everybody in this call, in this workshop is a meeting attendee. And you may create a scenario. It's all up to you. We just wanted to hear how you're going to implement these steps. Do I have a volunteer? I'll change the style. Do I have a volunteer? I may have a courageous volunteer here. If not, I have a fallback. Do I have a volunteer? Do I have a volunteer? Mm-hmm. If there's no volunteer, I can just look at my list here. I can see Heidi Cabusas. Heidi. Hello, Heidi.
Louis, this is
Hello.
Anne. Actually, she's not in the call already. She said that her connection is very poor.
Okay. Although I'm seeing here that Heidi Cabusas just joined the meeting. But thanks for that feedback. Appreciate it. Let me move on to Ivy. Ivy Guadalquiver. Ivy, please say hi if you're with us.
Hello, Louis. Hello.
Hello. Ivy, you're ready with our on-the-spot role play.
A bit.
Okay, you just log in. You just log in. Imagine a meeting. You can impose the details on us. You can also create names or call your teammates or peers in the room. All up to you in 60 seconds. No more than 60 seconds. Ready when you're ready.
Yes. Okay.
You just got logged in. Come on.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Hello team. Good morning. This
Hello,
is Ivy. Yeah, say yes if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, Ivy, we can hear
Okay,
you.
so I'd like to check, are we complete, guys? It's like I see here that we only have 8 participants. I am expecting 11 participants for today's huddle. Okay, so Okay.
You can assign.
Okay.
You can
Yeah.
assign to
So
somebody. Somebody assign somebody to reach out to the others. Come on.
yeah. Okay. So Jay, can you please link Angelica? If ask her if she will be joining our huddle for today. Okay. So while waiting for the others, yeah, how are you? Yeah, how was the training that you had yesterday? Because I learned that you attended the a soft skills training yesterday. So maybe while waiting for the others, you can share with me what you have learned from the training yesterday while waiting for the others.
And somebody just joined. No. Hi, this is
Okay.
Louie.
Hi, Louie. Hello.
Hello, Ivy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
I'm late. Sorry, I'm late.
yeah, it's okay. We will start in a bit. We will start after 1 minute. Yeah.
Thank you so
So
much, Ivy. Thank you so
okay.
much. That was it is that quick, no? But you really
Okay.
set the tone. I also like the tone of your voice there. Yes.
Okay.
Ivy, do you have a friend who you know is in the same class today? Because you can call that person and that person will go through our on the spot role play.
Michelle Salmorin.
Michelle Salmorin, Michelle, say hi and say thank you to Ivy.
Hi, thank you, Ivy.
Okay. Michelle, your
Yeah.
turn. At least Ivy and Michelle, it's good that you're doing your role play here and not on the call proper. Yes, because this
Yeah.
is a quick one. Okay, you just
Okay.
log in, Michelle. You just log into this video call, and yes, action.
Okay. So, hello, team. Good afternoon.
Hello,
So, if you
Michelle.
can hear me, please say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, let me check. Okay, we're still missing some participants. So, Louis, can you please check if the others will join and please give me feedback once they
Sure.
are here.
Okay, I link
Okay.
them now.
So since some of you are already here, since it's Monday, can you please share with me what you did this weekend? Anyone
Mhm,
who could share, or you could raise your hands if you want to say something.
mhm.
Okay, nice, interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Mhm.
And I'm seeing that Irish just joined. So hi Irish, how are you?
Mhm.
Hi, Mitch. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. So good. So yeah. So Louis, do we are we already
They,
complete? Can you
they
please?
replied they're very sorry they cannot make it, and they said that we can just go ahead with the meeting. I believe we can start. Boss,
Okay.
okay, let me start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good. So yeah. So team. So let's start.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Michelle. Thank you. And now we're
Okay.
starting. And the next step, number 9, is now announcing that we're starting the meeting. This is important so that people will know whether they can still grab a glass of water or grab their chargers or do something in several seconds. And this is setting expectations. There are times when you cannot start the meeting because there are really people who have important assignments who need to be present. But what you can do, this is also best practice, is to always start acknowledging the meeting start time. You may not start the meeting on time, but please acknowledge the meeting start time with this very simple phrase that I often use. You have heard Elaine. This is our script as well. Whether we're complete, as long as it's 3 o'clock and it's start of the session, Elaine will always say, it's exactly 3 p.m. Thank you for coming on time, because that communicates to meeting attendees that you are respecting people's time and that you're also acknowledging people who have attended on time. If you need to buy some time because you're not complete, you're waiting for other critical meeting participants, please do just follow it up, manage expectations. Let's give the others 5 minutes to join the call. I will call 2 people. We have 3 scripts here on this slide. We don't have the icon here, but I will call 3 people. We're starting our meeting in 5 minutes. and then on time. It's exactly 9 a.m. Thank you for coming on time. And then let's give the others 5 minutes to join the call. Just wanted to hear it. Just wanted it to be part of our natural words rolling off our tongue. Let's call some people here in the room. Erwin Katapang, sorry. Sorry, I mixed the names. Erwin Gatika. Erwin is with us. Say hi, Erwin.
Hi, Louie.
Hello, Erwin. Can you just do announcement, acknowledging, and manage expectations? Action.
We are starting our meeting in 5 minutes.
And we
And
wait for 5 minutes. Okay, after 5 minutes.
it is exactly 9 a.m. Thank you for coming on time. And let's give the others 5 minutes to join the call.
Okay. And it's okay if it's thank you so much, my friend Erwin. It's okay. And then if people need to be silent because they might be working on something. But you may also really strike conversations. If you need to talk to people, you can also begin to announce meeting roles. Let's also call somebody, Shirley Forniloza. Shirley, say hi. I'll jump to Dan Oliver. Dan Oliver, please say hi if you're with us. I will jump to Brenda Rose. Brenda Rose, are you with us? One last, and then I'll move to the next one. Javin. Do we have Javin? Or I believe I've called Javin. Sorry, I'll go to one more, another person. I have Christine Bessali. Christine Bessali. Hello, Christine.
Hi, thank you for pronouncing my second name right.
Really?
Yeah.
Bessali is right? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for affirming. Your quick on-the-spot role play. Action.
Okay, we're starting our meeting in 5 minutes. And I think it's exactly 9 a.m. So thank you all for coming on time. Let's just give the others 5 minutes to join the call.
Thank you. And because we're reading a script, it really sounds formal. But of course, when you're talking to your teams, we have known for quite some time, you can deliver the same message with a less formal and more casual tone. Let's now go to opening the meeting. We now have steps 11 to 15, simply announcing, let's start our meeting, and again, greeting everyone. Doing a quick roll call of participants because you know who's in the room. And what I do is say good morning when you hear your name. This is my style, and you can also develop your own style. What I just want here is for everybody else to hear everybody else's voices. Because maybe for the next 2 to 3 to 5 minutes, it's your voice that they will hear, right? So for me to be able to set the tone of participation and for them to be also connect with their teammates by hearing voices. Say good morning when you hear your name. Yes? Okay, Mark, Dan, Christine, Maria. Okay? Or you can replace good morning with any other phrase. I would introduce participants with roles. I will also tell the team who cannot make it so that they are not looking for some people in the room. And we will flash a set of meeting rules. And I might call on people to read the rules. Elaine, do we have a set of rules in LJMB, meeting rules? Elaine, please unmute and just share some of our meeting rules in LJMB. Can you read or mention some of our meeting rules? Number one.
Number one, please be in the meeting room on time.
And that's correct. That's meeting rule number one. Number two.
Number two, please know your assigned roles for this meeting.
Okay. And number three is bring
relevant items to the meeting that you need, like your notebook, pencil, or water and other relevant materials.
Thank you, Elaine. That's 3 of our 9 rules. Part of our meeting is to really run through that routine until it becomes a habit. Okay? And the next 2 items would be mentioning the objective and agenda of the meeting, it's important to also say what we want to accomplish in this meeting before you go through our agenda items. And because the agenda items may have evolved from the time that you communicated them up to the virtual meeting itself, it's also important to ask for any additional agenda item. If you do not do this, you will end the meeting and somebody will say, wait, there's an important item I need to add. Acknowledge that at the start of the meeting. Let's do an on-the-spot role play. I will choose two people. It's 4:54 before our last break at 5 o'clock. Let's have two people to open the meeting. Okay? And you can refer to parts 11, steps 11 to 15. 16 is simply mentioning an objective and agenda and asking if there's any additional agenda item. Who else have I not called? Not unless there is a volunteer who wants to volunteer. I'm looking both at the chat room and we have Aniseta. May I call Aniseta, please? I know that's not your nickname, but that's what I can see here. Please say hi if you're with us. Or you may want to press mute, just in case you're muted. Okay, you're not with us right now. Leo, we have Leo Naraha. Leo, please say hi.
Hi, Louie.
Hello, Leo. Please indulge us on the spot role play, opening the meeting up to agenda and objective and asking if there's anything else that people want to discuss. Ready? Action.
Action. Okay. So I guess that we are complete now. So some of the members will not be able to join us because they have prior commitment. So let's start our meeting. Good morning, everyone. So just a quick roll call. If we have Louis here, say good morning, please.
Morning.
Okay. Now, so we have here a special guest as well to discuss as a special topic. So we will have the
Go ahead, Leo.
Okay, sorry, I was lost. Okay, I need to skip the 14 already. Okay, so now before we start, so we have a special guest who will discuss a special topic. And before we start, so let's have these rules. Okay, so please have your full attention. So please turn off your gadget. So if you don't need it, and please focus on the presenter. And for today's objective, we will have this. Okay, blah 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 blah, blah. And then let's start.
Okay. And let's go to Elaine. Let's show the objective and agenda slide. Please, Leo, please continue with this. The objective of this meeting is?
Okay, so the objective of this meeting is to know more about the special items. So that's why we have a special guest right now. And if you have any question or you have anything in your mind, please feel free to do so and ask our special guest. Thank you.
Okay, Leo, I like it that at the start you also tried to change the sequence, and that's okay. That's possible. Here in the last item, ask for additional agenda item. I believe you asked for questions, but you may also want to ask if there's anybody who may have any additional concern that they want to discuss in the meeting.
Okay.
That's a suggestion. Thank you, Leo. Leo, would you know anybody else who's here with us, who's your classmate? Please call that person so that we can go to our next on-the-spot role play.
Okay, quick look through. I would like to call in Maria Carmela Majus, my classmate.
Hi,
Mela,
Louie. This is Mela.
Hello. Is this your first time to speak? Have I not called you earlier?
And yeah, this is my first time.
Oh, okay, perfect. Let's just go through this up to objective agenda and asking if there's anything else. Go ahead, Mela.
Okay. So I guess we are all complete, so we could now proceed to start our meeting. So again, good afternoon, everyone. And I would just like to look at the role of our participants. Can you say good morning when I pick your name? So, Louis, can you say good morning if you're already on the call?
Morning. Good morning, team. Morning,
Thank
TL.
Thank you, Louis. So yeah, I think we could now proceed. For today, I think Chris is on sick leave, so he will not be joining for our today's huddle. So just to recap our meeting rules again, so if you will not speak, so please turn off your microphone so that it will not the people presenting for today. And just a quick recap of our objectives. So for today, we will discuss what is some of the rules or how can we equip ourselves in teleconferencing. So again, I think this is a big or a good refresher for all of us here today. So let us know if you have any topics that you would like to add in our agenda. So I think that would be nice so that we could include all of the questions you would like to raise. So that's it.
Last
Thank you so much.
next slide for objectives and agenda. And is there anything else, please?
Yeah, so again, the objective for today is basically to present or to share the tips and tricks in teleconferencing. And yeah, and again, if there are anything else that you want to discuss today or raise, please feel free to share and just raise your hand. So I think we could start. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bella. And if there's somebody who would raise, I would like to table this for discussion. I would like to raise this, then take note of it, and you may need to make some adjustments in your duration for agenda items so you can still cover it. Or just mention we will tackle this in the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you, Mela. Thank you to everybody who went through the on-the-spot role play. More of that to come after our 5-minute break, our last break, 5 minutes. I'll see you back here, 5:05. It's exactly 5. Be back here by 5:05. Hello, world! This is Louis Banta, CEO and Chief Trainer of LJMB. I've been in learning and development for the past 27 years. 15 years ago, I put up LJMB. We provided soft skills or behavioral training programs to more than 300 companies from more than 20 different industries. Our most requested programs are leadership development, management development, team building, and culture transformation. We also deliver a lot of customer service, sales programs, and trainer development. If I didn't mention it, we can customize it for you. I've also personally delivered workshops in 9 countries across 4 continents. Our story of digital transformation started because of COVID-19. Because of the lockdown, all of our training engagements in April and May got postponed indefinitely. With nothing else to do and with 16 other employees to support, I delivered my first webinar last April 1 on these topics that leaders needed during this new normal. We ended up offering more courses on topics such as resiliency, adversity quotient, and on other soft skills needed to succeed through the quarantine, the new normal of work from home, and the uncertainty and anxiety. Last June, we celebrated a milestone. We delivered 100 webinars in just 10 weeks, covering more than 10,000 employees in more than 100 companies. For corporate clients, we offer a full suite of digital learning services. Excited to share with you our online platform for blended learning, www.ljmb.online. Your company may sign up with us, your employees register here, and go through self-paced learning activities which include downloading course materials like workbooks, slides, and visuals. Also, watching my video recorded lectures and completing exercises, assessments, and skills practice. After the self-paced learning activities, we will deliver the virtual classes anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 hours per day. No more lectures in the class, just pure interaction, discussions, Mentimeter poll questions, a chat room burning with activity every minute in class, competitive team exercises, and feedback on skills practice. We also provide virtual team building and virtual strategic and action planning workshops. Our clients this past month say they've attended one of the most, if not the most engaging virtual class they've ever experienced. Reach out to us regarding your digital learning needs. Check our website and follow us in Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you for watching my video. To watch more videos like this, click subscribe and hit the bell icon below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and share it to others.